Some of you are watching this next to the person who refuses to call you theirs. And the scariest part? You've already rehearsed the breakup in your head. You just haven't admitted it yet. I've seen the DMs, the 2 a.m. voice notes, the screenshots of conversations that make my stomach turn. Women who gave years to men who gave them confusion. Men who paid for dinners, trips, emotional rescue missions, only to be told they were too much. And you know what the worst part is? Nobody's lying anymore. That's the scary part. We've stopped lying. We just don't owe each other anything. And we've convinced ourselves that's freedom. Let me say something dangerous. More women are choosing to stay single. Not because they hate men, not because they're bitter, but because for the first time in human history, a woman can look at a relationship and ask, what does this actually add to my peace? And for millions of them, the answer is nothing. But here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. The same statistics that show single women are happier, they also show single men are lonelier than any generation before them. Male suicide rates, skyrocketing depression, a silent epidemic of touch starvation and invisibility. So we have two groups. One group finally breathing for the first time. One group drowning and nobody throws a rope. And instead of seeing both truths, we turn it into a war. That's the real heartbreak. Not the ghosting, the trenches. But the worst part isn't the apps. It's what modern dating taught us to normalize. And in a minute, I'm going to show you the most dangerous form of emotional cowardice disguised as love. Now, dating apps. Did they ruin romance? No. Romance was already limping. What they did was industrialize rejection. Think about it. You spend 15 minutes curating photos of yourself to look spontaneous. You swipe based on thirst. You match. You message. And within 48 hours, one of you stops replying. Not because of anything real, because a new match popped up. Shiny. New. Disposable. But here's the neutral truth, and I need you to hear this. For a gay kid in a small town, apps saved his life. Literally. For a divorced mom with no village, apps gave her a door. For someone with social anxiety who cannot do loud bars, apps were a bridge. The app is not the villain. The infinite loop is the villain. The belief that someone better is one swipe away, even when you already have someone good in your bed. And that brings me to the thing that haunts my comment section more than anything else. Situationships. Let me describe someone. See if you know them. They text you good morning. Sometimes. They hold your hand in public, when nobody's watching. They cry on your shoulder about their ex, at 1 a.m. They have opinions about your family, your friends, your career. They get jealous if you talk to someone else. They sleep in your bed. They know your coffee order, your childhood wound, your secret fear. But when you ask, what are we? They say, I don't like labels. That is not a preference. That is a loophole. I know someone who spent 11 months acting like a wife to a man who introduced her as my friend at a birthday dinner. That was the moment her body understood what her mind had been denying. You are doing relationship work for friendship prices. You are being loved in private and denied in public. And the cruelest part? Sometimes they know exactly what they're doing. They know you need clarity. They know you're getting attached. They know the way your voice changes when you ask, are you seeing anyone else? And instead of telling the truth, they give you just enough affection to keep the question from becoming a decision. A forehead kiss, a random, miss you, a late night, come over. Not enough commitment to build a future, just enough intimacy to stop you from leaving. That's what makes situationships so addictive. They don't starve you. They keep feeding you crumbs right before you're strong enough to walk away. That is not confusion. That is convenience, emotional labor, physical intimacy, logistical support, midnight reassurance. And in return, you get plausible deniability. And before anyone types, not all men or women do it too. Yes, you're right. Women absolutely string men along for attention, free labor, and ego boosts. That happens. I'm not blind. But let's not play dumb about the pattern. Who disproportionately carries the mental load in undefined relationships? Who is more likely to be called crazy for asking for clarity? Who is more likely to be accused of rushing things after 6 months of sleepovers? Both sides are bleeding, but one side has been bleeding longer and taught to smile through it. Here's where I need you to hold tension, because if I only blame men, I lose half the room, and worse, I lie. If I only blame women, I ignore every woman sobbing in her car after another "what are we" conversation that went nowhere. The truth is uncomfortable. We have built a dating culture that rewards ambiguity, because ambiguity means no fault, no breakup, no accountability. You don't have to dump someone if you never ask them out. You don't have to feel guilty if you weren't official. It's not evil, it's cowardice. Polished, modern, therapist-approved cowardice. And the people paying the price? The ones who actually want love, not perfection, not a princess or a prince, just someone who stays when it gets boring. I've been the ghoster, and I've been the ghosted, and I'll tell you which one hurt more. The ghosting hurt less in the moment and haunted me longer, because I had to live with the fact that I made someone feel discardable. So here's my neutral ground, my real one, not the fake, balanced, both sides stuff. Here's the truth nobody tells you. The right person doesn't make clarity feel expensive. If asking what this is makes them pull away, the answer was already no. To the woman staying single, I'm proud of you. Seriously. You looked at the game and said, "The entry fee is my peace," and walked away. That's not broken. That's brave. To the man who feels invisible, I see you. The loneliness is real. The pressure to perform strength while starving for tenderness is real. You deserve to be held without earning it. To the person in a situationship right now, most people don't leave when they first realize something is wrong. They leave after the tiny moment that finally breaks the illusion. The wedding invitation, the tagged photo, the phone flipped face down, the "I'm not ready" speech right after they acted like your partner all weekend. It's never the big betrayal first. It's the small moment that forces your nervous system to admit what your heart kept negotiating with. That's the real ending of most situationships. Not a breakup. A moment of unbearable clarity. To the person in a situationship right now, reading the comments while lying next to someone who won't call you their partner, you already know the answer. You've known for months. You're not waiting for them to change. You're waiting for it to hurt less to leave than to stay. And I'm sorry, but that day never comes. You just get better at pretending. I'm not going to tell you to delete the apps. I'm not going to sell you a course on high-value dating. That's not why you're here. You're here because you feel it too. Something is off. And you're tired of being told to just communicate better, when communication only works if both people are afraid of losing each other. And maybe the hardest truth is this. Sometimes the person who hurt us the longest wasn't them. It was the version of us that kept calling uncertainty potential. The version that translated silence into hope. The version that kept saying, maybe they just need time. Sometimes heartbreak is not losing them. Sometimes heartbreak is realizing how long we abandoned ourselves to keep them. And that's why the grief feels so strange. You're not just mourning the person. You're mourning the version of yourself that kept surviving on almost. Almost chosen. Almost loved. Almost enough. So here's what I want you to do. Not for me, for yourself. Comment one word. Situationship, if you've survived one. Comment single, if you chose peace. Comment invisible, if you're a man who feels like nobody sees how hard you're trying. And if you've been on both sides, the ghoster and the ghosted, comment both. Because the algorithm wants you angry at each other. But I want you to look at the comments and realize, oh, you're hurting too. Maybe we're not enemies. Subscribe if you want more conversations that don't pick a team. Hit the bell, because in the next video is a confession from someone who stayed in a situationship for 4 years and found out they were never the only one. The way they discovered it will change how you read mixed signals forever. See you in the comments. Don't just watch. Tell the truth your heart already knows.